Good morning, Chads. We'll be with you in just a moment. Check, baby, check 1, 2. This is an audio check. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special opening song for you today, coming all the way from Manitoba, Ontario. Tribute to the Canadian veteran.
They pinned a ribbon on my chest, said, kid, you gave it your best. Told me, don't worry, we'll take it from here. Salute, shake hands, disappear. Stack of forms, red tape maze, old music stuck on yesterday. Thank you for your sacrifice. Cool, now roll the dice. You said you had my back. Yeah, how's that working out? Small for the photo op, then slowly it phased me out. You said you had our backs. Now you're cutting us low.
Killerish here.
Crossed it out, colored policy appeals. One-sided by a desktop hero. Power trip in a swivel chair. You pulled the rug, took the check. Guess we were never there. We were never there.
Pedro, I can't see you.
Guess you never cared. Case manager with a coffee grin. Cold as hell, paper thin. Clicks a box, benefits denied. Doesn't blink, doesn't try. You don't meet the standard now. Funny how that works somehow. War was real, scars still are, but the spreadsheet says they're not. You don't know my
and gentlemen, the opening song by Crypto Mike, Manitoba, Canada, shouting out to his fellow veterans. Great song. Mike sent me a lot of AI songs that he's come up with over the past few months, and I finally used one on the show. Pedro's here somewhere. Mickey's here somewhere. We carried weight, never know. That's right. The people that didn't go through that will never know. Pedro and I had this discussion on the show yesterday about with Crypto Night, is that the current generations of people that are complaining about how life is so hard for them and they're committing suicide and all that type of stuff, yet they've never gone to war, experienced the hardships of war, at least maybe not themselves, but their country, or their family, or their friends, or anything like that. It makes all the rest of this bullshit like, oh, I don't have the right major in school, and didn't get exactly the right job I want, and rent is expensive. When you go through war, it puts all that in perspective. My grandfather had a great perspective in life. My dad never went to war, but he lived through the whole Vietnam stuff and watched all his friends suffer. And everybody in this current generation now that's grown up after the wars in Iraq don't have it together, and they don't understand the differences. Hey, there's Pedro. Pedro, I was just talking about. Welcome to the show, Pedro Garcia. Anyway, I'm just gonna I was just listening to Mike's song, so now we're gonna get the show started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show we call DYOR Live, like it says on the masthead right there. The man in the blank box behind me right here is Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. He's there. I swear he is. But anyway, it's February 27th, 2026. One day left in the month. We had the producer price index come out today, and it was shit, and inflation is hot. And ladies and gentlemen, was Jerome Powell right? Inflation strikes back. 0.8% on the producer price index. And yeah, sorry, I don't. Pedro, just let me know when you get the camera, and I'll turn it off for now. On the producer price index, and here, yeah, producer price index 0.8, expected 0.3. Last month it was down. It was down 0.6, so last month was good. And then they anticipated it going up a little bit, 0.8. So actually, over time, inflation has almost gone up 0.8 plus 0.4, 1.2% in the past 2 months. And the producer price index, ladies and gentlemen, is a measure of what the people that manufacture stuff in the United States buy. They have to buy stuff and then make it and resell it. And if their input goods are more expensive, then down the road, your goods are going to be more expensive. That cost doesn't completely get pushed on to the retail people. Many people in the media get this wrong because they assume that all costs are passed to the retailers and to the people like you and me that buy it. No, companies absorb some of that, and their profits get lower. So it's not a direct hit into your pocketbook, but the media and the stock markets sure play it like that.
Yeah. Well, I think what's important is that like people are starting to get that. I think did you hear what's his name's? There we are. Okay. Trying to get some else to pop in. Did you hear how? What's his name? I forget the guy's
Jerome
name.
Powell?
No.
Scott Bessent. Donald Trump.
Scott Bessent.
Gerald
Scott Bessent. Scott Bessent. So Scott Bessent, he keeps talking about like the real numbers, right? And he's going over stuff. I feel like there's this sense of that they want to see that. I think we're going to see if at the end of the corner of 3 or 4% GDP with the jobs coming in. Now, people are losing a lot of jobs. I'm not saying the jobs aren't, but the amount of jobs that are coming in are starting to come in. and he just might the reason why I'm bringing this up is that if you don't have real jobs with real what's up?
All right, just talking about the screen layout. Go ahead.
If you don't have real jobs with real, if you have inflation with real jobs and real increase, that's a good thing. That's a better way said.
Right.
Whereas before,
inflation on its own sucks.
Yes.
Unemployment.
But if you haven't, so this is where if they can pull it off, and I think they just might. It's gonna be a banging year. Best way of putting it. And they're actually, it looks like it's starting to get going. We're starting to see red tape. We're starting to see jobs up here in the Northeast, down in the South. Yes, people are losing a lot of jobs. I mean, you had Jack Dorsey go through and lose a bunch of...
Just riffed half the company last night.
Yeah, but the thing is when you look at it, it's just going to cause people to really start to stimulate other aspects of the economy. And so it's like, yeah, he's killing jobs, but at the same time, we're getting real manufacturing jobs, and those are literally a 2.69 a multiplier to the economy.
Yeah,
of money's being generated throughout the economy. So it's if he can slow down the jobs being killed, which is going to be hard if they're doing real numbers, but then at the same time really focusing on job creation, basically importing other jobs around the world into the US is really what he's trying to do, then I think it's not going to matter what inflation does.
But counterpoint, midterms coming up.
Please.
And even if inflation's going up and unemployment's going down and the economy's rolling, inflation is up. And chicken planks are going to cost more money, and your eggs are going to cost more money, and they're going to beat Mr. Trump up. Even if everyone's fully employed, if nobody's looking for a job, and everyone has got like tons of money in it, they'll still use that message. Now, remember, everyone always votes with their wallets. They vote the elections. They end up going, yeah, I'm doing well. Everything is good. And so ultimately, it's decided over whether you and your cohorts, families, economic group, demographic group, whatever, are doing okay. And that's important. That's important. But a messaging, when the messaging gets repeated over and over and over. Nice troll. I got the pink shirt on. So.
You got it.
I gave Pedro shit the other day about the light blue hoodie, which I don't give a shit about. I wear pink shirts.
I know, I just joke.
But I don't know why it bothered me that day. I can't remember.
But I don't care.
But
now we're talking about the transgender stuff.
We're That's right.
You're busting my balls over it.
Now you're gonna put your scarf on, and now you need your beret like Rusty on European vacation.
Dude, I have an old those I forget what they're called. I used to have like 15 of them, and I just think my friends stole them. I won't do it that far. But it was just too good. I saw it and I was like, oh, I'm going to bust his balls over here.
Troll alert.
Listen, man, if I'm not trolling and messing with you, we ain't friends. Like, it's just, Chris, a friend of ours, I'm always messing with them. And he's like, it's funny. It's just... anyways, I'm sorry. Let's move forward. I also got some beans I'm cooking up, so I'm gonna have to step away for a few
can't
minutes.
imagine the problems with that.
I don't know, man. It's gonna be amazing, bro. I actually got to grill up. Or I forgot to because I grind up my own seasonings. Of course I do.
Of course you do. But I, in your defense, you know what I'm tired of, Pedro?
What are you tired
Shitty
of?
fucking seasonings that you get when you buy them from the grocery store.
Dude,
and I got a little store over here where you can get them, fresh ground. They make them. They fucking went out of business.
Goodness.
It wasn't. It was around for 50 years. The store, and I go to walk by it. I get fresh produce there. I get fresh spices. Get fresh this, fresh that. They're like, we can't compete against the supermarket down the street. I'm like, but you sell real food. And they're like, all people get now is those warmed lemon chickens. Drives me nuts.
Dude, I will grind up my own season. Dude, the difference between store-bought seasonings and you doing your own seasonings, night and day difference. The food, it's like the first time you go from conventional fruit to organic fruit. Truth is, conventional used to be organic, right? But whatever. Now we have to pay super money to eat healthy, which is bullshit.
Well, now they redefine the word of organic. Now it doesn't even need to be organic. It just needs to be not ultra processed, right? Needs to be blessed by a shaman, and then it's organic. Wow, came out of this factory, but it was an organic factory. It's certified as organic by who? By that big association that we founded.
The thing is, I'm watching all these things. There's all these cool little businesses that are starting out, which is so dope, where you literally can pay them to come and they set up a little greenhouse for you and they set up the whole entire thing. It's like a couple $1,000s, but then it feeds you for like 2 or 3 years. Like,
my dad has a small one because he's a cook. He took over cooking from my mom, when they met. And
that'll probably be me and my wife. Seriously.
I got this. Trust me, we don't want to die. And in my mom's defense, her mom was a chef. Her mom was not a chef. Her grandmother, Italian grandmother, was a chef. And Nona did everything. Or nanny, as we called her. Nanny did everything. Never taught her daughter, my grandmother, to cook, who never taught my mom to cook. So my dad had to take it over.
The travesty.
Hey, I grew up on a very healthy diet of chicken patties and meatloaf. Frozen chicken patties, microwave. But anyway, I digress. I just digress to the point where I have no idea what the hell I was talking about.
Making our own seasoning. There you go.
I was segueing into the topics of the day. Inflation. I was segueing into inflation.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I was my dad actually grows his own herbs and all different types of spices, and I think he's looking into drying them and saving them and then grinding them and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And he loves it. And he's like, do you know what the cost of good ingredients now is? And he cooks a lot, and so I was like, yeah, the credit card fee over at the steakhouse is a lot, and the takeout Mexican joint that they fee you up. And he's like, no, you fool. He said the cost of like spices and the basic ingredients of food is going up. And then here today we have the producer price index go up, Pedro. Everything that we're buying from out of country is costing us more. And we saw the dollar get stronger a few months ago, Pedro. And when the dollar gets stronger, that is wait, let me make sure I have that right. The dollar weakens, our exports are cheaper,
which makes the economy stronger.
Right, and when the dollar strengthens, our exports cost more, but our imports cost less. All right, so you saw.
But
the
to
dollar
add,
getting stronger.
I hear you.
Oh,
I hear you. But also to add and jump with this, if we are a primary net exporter versus importer, which is what we're trying to become, or even just equal, then that makes that situation even better. So if we export less, or excuse me, if we import less and export more, and we have a higher dollar, which normally doesn't happen, but it has been known to happen because there's more demand for the dollar because people want to buy from us more, right? So they buy more dollar. So understand, like you need to understand that there's a give and take and there's a flux. There's a wave to that. So I'm sorry, go ahead. It's never just black and white like that, even though a lot of people want to make it that way.
No, I was saying that the currency has weakened a lot and we've been getting beaten up by the left is saying, oh, the dollar's getting weaker, and foreigners like, see, your economy's going to crash, when the strength of the dollar index really has nothing to do with whether the economy's going to crash or not. It just changes on what's expensive and what's cheap. And but we're seeing now, the things we have to pay for from overseas get a little bit more expensive, and you see that reflected in the producer price index. And they predicted a 0.3 increase, but we got a 0.8 increase, so it happened a lot more than planned. Mike, I'm checking right now to see. So
what you're saying is that because we had a cheap dollar, it made inflation go up because we had to pay more money for exports.
Right.
Excuse me, for imports. For imports,
right.
which is the raw goods that we use to build the things that we need to build. Mm-hmm. So that's what you're saying. It's not because we see more money. Like let's say the economy was good and we had everything still going, right? Let's say things happen in the future where America becomes a net exporter, and if we and our imports, and many other people buy our imports as we start to produce more and more. Then if we had a lower dollar in that same sense, would that also create inflation?
Well, if the lower dollar cranks up our exports, and they're flooding money into the country because of if the huge tariff money's coming in, if people are buying our stuff like crazy,
right.
And we don't hire people,
it's equal.
Yeah, but if we hire a ton of people, it'll absorb that. If we lay off people, and so it's one of these things. It's like one big.
It's everything has to do with, if to simplify it, you want to see it as money in chasing same goods, right? Because it's always the same goods, right? There's only 300 million people in America, and they can only buy the same amount of goods. So if you have more money coming into the system buying the same goods, guess what happens? Price is going to go up. That's what inflation is. But if you actually have a generation of more goods, because we're producing more, okay, and we also have monies coming in, not being created, but actually producing money, and there's a delineation between the two. It's important then that you'll have an actual real boom. This is what we saw in the 1940s after World War II, 1940s and 50s and 60s after World War II.
Excellent point. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, producer price index. No, it's all right. It's really, really important. Pedro brought out some good topics about unemployment and the PPI and inflation. And one of the things that you need to remember when the financial news is doom and gloom is that whatever in finance is doom, there's another side to it that's gloom, or at least good. It's just, it's like the conservation of energy thing in physics. It never actually gets destroyed unless people just steal it or scam it and burn it like they did in 2008. But even during that, people made out like bandits because people had big puts on the market and big shorts, and they made a ton of money. And so even though the inflation is going up, we're going to want to see some truthful reports out of the employment.
I also
make sure those are right.
Yeah, and I agree. But also, let's talk about 2008. 2008 wasn't just disappeared. That money was that transferred into the people who knew how to trade.
Yeah,
just outright. Like people who knew how to short the market made out like bandits. It didn't disappear. It went into their accounts. And then what happens is then they bought with that money housing. Okay, and who's the primary buyer of houses per capita? One entity over somebody else. Who is it? Investment banks. It's investment banks. So they are the ones who shorted the market. So much money was made that if they had put it back into the market, we would have had a complete V-shaped economy or stock market. But they couldn't do it, so they started to deploy that into single home families, right? Also helping out and reestablishing MBSs, and because of the Frank Dodd bill that was created, it's important to understand that nuance there is now where we're sitting at right now. And now we are in another circumstance where, again, we're about to have another type of crash because of inflation that we're seeing right now. And so it's actually about to go into deflation because people are now going to hold on to their money even more so, which is going to slow the economy down real quick. It's long story short, it's going to be fun. Just being honest. And 2008 was simply a simple system that was literally based off of people shorted the market, the very people who caused the system, banksters, because the system is built on that precipice, right? The banksters went through, inflated it, then shorted it. And in that shorting, a couple big banks were on the wrong side. They were leveraged a little too much long than short or net positive, right? Or net equal, right? Meaning like a lot of people during that time, like if you go look at our stock market right now, you'll literally see a very similar stock market to 2008 in the sideways pattern that we're putting in. This is a lot of people are talking about this, and they're very much right. We're talking about this level here. You can see right here.
Let me get the charts up here. We haven't hit the charts at all yet.
Shoot, I got to go check this road. Get it ready, and then talk a little, and I'll be back. This is my beans. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pedro Garcia. Making the beans. And I don't mean money or coins. I mean, he's literally making beans in the middle of the show. Anyway, Mike, thanks a lot for helping us out with the chat there. We hit the number. We're actually over it. We got over 40 this month. They changed the requirements up a lot. We've had a pretty good month broadcasting. But we were a little short on chatters for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, your 8,000 multiple accounts. Mike, if you send an email to support@rumble.com with any question, they'll send you an automated response that says, hey, we're going to get to your answer within 24 hours. And they'll send you a link to get a free month of premium. And it looks like you can do that about 29 different emails. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, looks like been watching the precious metals go up here today. Gold has been very volatile today. This chart over there, you can see the big spike up came out when the producer price index came up because it would be a negative effect on currency, which means gold is the hedge. And so the gold would go up, and it went up, then retraced a lot when people took profits, and now it's inching back up in the day as, frankly, I don't know why, because it's Friday, should be the end of the month, people should be closing positions. They were long earlier, they should be short, or they should be closing that out by selling off, and it's going up for some reason. I don't know why. Where did the Bitcoin go? It's the ES. Where's the Bitcoin? Maybe we'll hit the Bitcoin in a little bit after our inflation talk. Not the normal Friday topic of discussion. Normally we just talk crypto and Bitcoin. Where did it go? I lost it. The monthly chart. Until today, I was convinced I was right. Until today. Frankly, I don't know why Bitcoin sold off. It sold off because big companies. I don't know why my thing isn't trading. I don't know why that's on the screen. Let's see if that changes. Nope. That's not working either. One of these days, guys, I'm going to be able to afford a new computer, and all this is just going to work. Instead of just being the most loserish streamer on the internet. I was convinced that we were going to go trade up at the end of the month. Trade up at the end of the month. Today wrecked that pattern. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we had started out finishing out the month, like I said, but it looks like it's going to be inconclusive and just finish out February petering off here with Bitcoin, which isn't good. It needed a little upturn to get the momentum back. As you can see here, this dotted line here is the 50-period moving average. We're still well under that, which is very bearish on a daily candle. Every time that it stays under that on the daily charts, it just means likely still going down. Now that is in the cards anyway. What I'm just talking about is this time frame. I thought the week was going to end up positive. This month has just been a disaster for Bitcoin. Clearly, the daily chart under the 50 in a bear market for Bitcoin. Anyone who says the bull is back, we're bullish. This needs to come up above the 50 and stay up there for a long time. It needs to come up above all the moving averages, as a matter of fact. Mr. Garcia has returned with his beans.
Yeah, my beans. All right, let's check it out. So I wanted to point out this little area right here, as you can see, guys. And it's important to understand that this is, let me move it over just a little. It's important to understand that I'm not saying we're having a 2008 crash, potentially, right? Like, I could be completely wrong. I'm getting hot. So what's important is this, is that history typically doesn't repeat itself, but it sure likes to rhyme, to quote
right.
Bailu, and he's quoting somebody else, especially in the markets. So we're already seeing the 100-day really start to kind of bound up. You can see right here, we had a similar situation. This was before COVID actually happened. Excuse me, not COVID, but the tariff situation. You see how the $100 or the 100-period moving average is starting to show weakness, right? See how that happens? We saw the huge sell-off. You can see right here, it's a similar situation. Now this is looking like we're about to see. You see how you have a bundling up of the 50 and the 100-day period. The 50 is the gray line right here. The 100 is this 100-day period moving average, which is the yellow line. You see how we're starting to weaken here. You see that we're easy. We have the ability to go between both of them, and because of that to me then communicates that the next level to really come down to is that 200, which is that 65.89 area. And so this is why I'm expecting to see a bit of a sell-off come in from 7,000 potentially down to that 6,500 coming in real quick. We're putting in lower highs, lower lows. Now let's go to 2008, because we can see 2008 actually happening right here. It's similar. You can see similar to during COVID. Before COVID actually took place, right? We started seeing it. We were watching the 100 being tested multiple times. So then we came back down to the 200 right here. Right now we're at this level here, like COVID, like right this period of 22 before the market really started selling off. Okay, now you can see a similar situation happening again right here in 2020. Not COVID, excuse me. That's when the never mind. This is COVID. COVID was a similar situation here. As you can see, pricing going sideways, having a hard time push up. It sold off hard, right? In the same sense. Now let's look at 2008 here real quick. Is it going to give me the data? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So 2008, similar situation, right? From a charting standpoint. And so a lot of chartists are sitting there saying, you know what? We're showing similar signs. Right, 2007, right? We saw a huge sell-off. We saw it come back up, right? So you can see here, it went through the 2000, right? You see right here, again, it pushed up. Tasty trade. That's actually around that time I was looking at Tasty Trade as well. 2006, we saw the sell-off, boom, boom, bounced. Couldn't get above it, boom, right? You see how this is similar. We have the sell-offs. That's why I pointed out those sell-offs as we were pushing up from 2000 to the 2000. And so you can see here, it's a similar look, right? And then the last couple months, as you see, like you had the sell off, boom, 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 trying to get above the previous, and you saw a sell off. So in the same sense, when you look at our current situation, right? Now this is at a larger scale. You can see here, we saw the sell-off, boom, the original one that we saw in 2006, right? And then the early 2007, again, another sell-off that you saw, but you saw it push back up. You saw it get through that 400. Well, the next one here would be the 800. Now, I don't talk about the 800 period moving average much because it just never is in. It's just not in them. You know, very rarely do you use it, but that's sitting around here, and I can put that in here real quick. Give me 1 second. Come on. Oh, it's coming off. That's weird. All right, so that's really weird. It shouldn't be right there. And why is it that color? I'm sorry, guys. This it's 200, 400. Should be the 800.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks everyone watching us on the various outlets here today. Really appreciate it. A fun Friday is our show Fridays usually less contrived, whatever. We have a little bit more fun on Fridays. But today the PPI came out and it was brutal, so we're going into a little bit more deeper discussion about that, how it affected the markets as compared to past issues as well. And are we setting ourselves up for a big problem? And for you Canadian up here, I guess I'm in Canada too, you know very well that if the US gets sick, Canada catches a bad flu. It's much worse in Canada because Canada doesn't have a lot of outlets as an alternative to the US. A good example, price of oil is $60 some a barrel. The price of the stuff that Alberta sells to the US is like basically free. Because they only have one place to sell it, so we don't offer them much of a price, and they have to sell it at a huge discount. It's like that with a lot of markets. And in fact, Canada's stuck in that same kind of business with their canola oil. Most of the canola oil in the world gets bought by the Chinese government, or I should say the various entities in China. And so the Canadians overproduced it for years and years, and they still overproduce it. And so when the Chinese say, nah, you better do what we want, or we're not going to buy your canola oil, Canada goes, oh, okay, we'll do it. You know, no problem, we'll do it. And you see that a lot in the kind of the carrot and the stick here, carrot and the stick. And you got to get the Canadians to stop cooking planting so much canola oil, and they'll stop being beholden to policies from across the Pacific Ocean. So it's a big deal when, especially when the numbers come out much worse than planned. Now, maybe next month they'll be like, ooh, we got it wrong. The intern had a typo, and we meant 3, not 8. They didn't have their reading glasses properly on, and because 3s look like 8s to some people, you know, and they're like, well, you know.
Sometimes it happens. Yeah. You know, I'm one of them.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. And so they could blame it on that and then say, oh, it was actually an increase.
Yeah.
You know, oh, well, that wasn't an increase. Intern typed that one wrong, too. They meant in decrease. A de-increase. In which it increased, but not as much as expected.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In other words, there's lots of shenanigans. And until we get all this shit on the blockchain, there's going to continue to be shenanigans.
Shenanigans. I like that. Listen, buddy. I have a friend of mine, Sheila. She starts to talk to me sometimes because we start to get into it. She'll be like, Pedro, listen to what I'm saying. And I'm like, but you have to make sense. I love her. She's my friend. She's a church buddy, old church buddy of mine. What is it? All right, so let's just pull this up here real quick. Basically, we're looking really, really, really weak here. We're starting to see kind of like we've talked about that the descending of the volume coming in. This is kind of a good thing. You can see we're getting below. We're like right on the lip of that 100-day period moving average here. Lower. I just realized why it's not as low for my 800 compared to this one, because my other one that I have, I look on my trading charts, and it's really interesting. So what am I gonna say? Yes, right here you can see here that we have a descending of volume right here. Either we're gonna spike on good news and see it go up, potentially as these jobs start to really pick up with Trump. Sooner or later you're gonna hit an inflection, I think, where things change from a macro standpoint, where if, again, I say this because we talk about the midterms, if he cannot win midterms, if he cannot produce what he needs to do by this month, and decelerate the job loss, and then it capitalizes on job gains, this is going to be huge. So also I want to add in, Drew, if you do watch this, you were talking about on the show today that average jobs on a month were typically hundreds of thousands. Those were fake jobs. Those weren't even real jobs. Those were more gig economy and things that were considered really real jobs, which is kind of cool. That we were able to generate that type of money. But because people are losing real jobs, those jobs go away, because those are more based off of people who have jobs. So I wouldn't count, even though that's money going into the economy and being generated, I would not count that as a real job, much like seasonal jobs, right? Like you can't count on them. So again, I think it's real interesting, the movements of, like, from a large scale of things, like you need to step back and see all these other what's the word? Variables. The other variables that people just look at it, and the problem is a lot of people just don't know all the extra variables. I'm making this a horrible show today. Long story short, I am demolishing it, dog. Like demolishing it. And I fully acknowledge that. But it's Friday, bro. So, but look here. This right here is showing me low. The next one, high, low, boom. See it come down. So either here or here. Either way, expect a bit of a sell-off. Of 1,000 or 500 is what I'm expecting, is to see this thing drop. Especially if war breaks out this weekend. Ooh, baby. Dude, they're setting it up like nobody's business. With the NVIDIA stock jumping up and all the news saying, record numbers. Let's go. Yeah, no. That was a rope-a-dope right there. We went over that. Remember the day of the numbers? I said, nope, don't get fooled by that. That's just nothing but a rope-a-dope.
$4.7 trillion that company is worth.
Mm-hmm.
And the book value of it is like almost zero. Many people don't realize this. NVIDIA has almost no employees relative to its size. It has lots of employees, but relative to its market cap, like Amazon has 1.5 million employees or something like that.
Yeah.
NVIDIA's got about 40. No, I take that back. They've got more than 40 employees. They have thousands and thousands of employees. But compared to other companies their size, they have very few, because they don't actually make anything. They contract everything out to Taiwan Manufacturing, TMSC, or whatever it is, or TCET, whatever. That and Foxconn and all the big Taiwan, Korean, and Chinese companies. They have a bunch of small manufacturing centers around the world to do a couple of things, is to manufacture GPUs and specialty chips for militaries and for governments and stuff like that, or for high-end local customers that'll pay whatever. They recently established one in Israel, hired a whole bunch of people and making specialty stuff over there. And they also use that as research and design, because then whichever location is bringing in tons of profit for custom stuff, they can, bleed off some of that money for more research and design. So their earnings, their net profit is like massive. They have like 20 gazillion billion dollars in cash. They're like Apple. They just have so much cash that they can just stop selling stuff and continue paying everybody for like the rest of their lives and be fine. It's just an amazing thing, and nobody can catch them because they're just on top of it and kicking ass. And you know, one of these days Jensen's going to retire and the next guy won't take as many risks, or the next lady, whatever, next person, and that the stock will go down by 3/4. But Jensen's not going to be retiring for a long
anytime. I was going to say he's healthy, dude.
Right.
Like,
he's going to die in that office. I mean, he just wants nothing to do but go.
He's legit. And just to add in, so we talked about at the beginning, right, that their earnings was on the 25th. So we talked about that, and I said, guys, don't get fooled by this, right? Expect a bit of a sell-off because there's too much good news about this, and as if it's like at all-time high, and it's not all-time high. So this is classic bait and switch here, right? It would have been if on that day, which was this day right here, we saw it shoot up to $225, all of a sudden it comes to there. Well, then that's a different story, but that's not what happened. All that news was as if it hit all-time highs, and it didn't, right? And so look, all those guys who bought in on that high thinking it's going to go up, which there were a lot of people who were buying. This is why they were able to take the other side and then basically sell off on them into that 200 period moving average.
We call that exit liquidity. Even we talk about that in crypto as don't be someone's exit liquidity. Even in the largest stocks in the world, Pedro, like this. You just pointed out. You brought it up. Said thank you for the exit liquidity. Thank you very much. And guess who got all that exit liquidity? The big investors, the big banks, the big groups, and all that. And guess who lost it? The people on Schwab.com and on Robinhood and all this kind of stuff are like, they see it pumping. The earnings are coming out. They're going to be better. Yeah. Let's buy. And then the institutions just say, thank you for your money, sell, because they've been buying and building a position for 4 fucking weeks, right?
Pretty much. Hey, you saw the video with Chris, right? Of with Russell Crowe.
Oh yeah. Right. The movie, whatever movie that was.
Yeah. And then
sell.
You also saw I've shown it on here multiple times, but the communication that what's his name? When he says something, if he says it's going to go up, buy, sell. Jim Cramer.
The opposite.
Yeah, and he goes in. He's just a good half an hour, 15 to 30 minutes of him just talking about how the real manipulation happens in the market. And people, every time I show that, they're like, that's not true. No, because and I'm like, bro, I don't care what the laws go. Like, to quote Nathan Rothschild, I do not care who holds the crown, but he who prints the money. Right?
Exactly.
I think, I'm not quoting it, but that's like basically, you know, what do you call that? Not analysis. Wow, what's my brain going on with it? But basically, long story short, that's what that was. That was just simply saying, hey, look, we want exit liquidity. And again, I just say it, I am for and against, or I would say I'm net neutral. That's the best way of saying it, of institutions and the banksters, right? Like, it's not, capitalism was ultimately going to get, like, let's say we get rid of capitalism right now and to say completely goes away. Well, in 20 years or 50 years or 100 years from now, it's going to come back because it is the most efficient way of like handling money, even with robots. There's nothing else. There's
nothing you can do to tell people that. And they don't, even that socialism and communism, so much of the efficiency is sucked dry because of planning. Because they have to plan the whole economy, like every last bit of it, and it takes an overwhelming percentage of the money to do that. Whereas instead of just letting people do it themselves and naturally working stuff out, it does it the most efficient way. Money flows through the most efficient. Money's like water. It doesn't flow uphill. It doesn't flow through something. It flows downhill and around things. And if you're a barrier, it flows around you. see that in your trades all the time. If you're hoping it's going to hit your target, like without any knowledge, you're like, yes, I'm a mountain, it's going to hit me. It just whoop, and shit, liquidated.
Like I always, it's funny. The trade, I was so proud of you, right? Like you're like, I think it was for crude oil. You waited for, or maybe gold or crude oil. You waited for it. You put your stop in where the liquidity was at, right? And there was also a moving average that correlated there with a higher time frame SMA and a zone. Yep. That's why I had it there, right? And so I had multiple things. Well, the thing is, price, you knew it's coming down there because that's where the orders are at. Just like the economy, right? People who are efficient, who want to get ahead, which is the human spirit, if they don't see a place where they can get ahead, what's the point of working? For my fellow man who's over there being an idiot, because I love him, but he would rather be in a house, basically looking at corn and doing nothing, whereas I'm out here slaving away. Nah, forget that. I'm going to see if I can go over to another place in which I can take my talent, my skill set, and build. And that's the human spirit. That is always what we've seen. You look at nations stemming all the way back from ancient Acadia to today. And that is honestly what we see. The human spirit wants to get ahead, right? Some people say that, Sargon the Great started off as nothing, right? As a poor boy. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. Or a slave or not, I don't know, right? There's a lot of stuff. But just the idea of a, what's it, Horatio story? Bootstrap. Every person will do that. Like, not every person, but there are too many other people who are the smart people, who are the grinders. Just sit there and say, these are the industry makers. They're not gonna sit and chill in a communist or a socialist mindset. This is why in America, any innovation comes typically from us, because it is a pure, well, I would say we're not a pure socialist, we're not a pure capitalist, but we are a capitalist society in which you can go through, you can put your goods and services into a place and then want it to go. And then also put your talents to build a business. And if you succeed, you receive all the glory and prosperity, i.e. Zuckerberg, i.e. Jeff Bezos, right? They weren't the smartest, but did they grind the hardest? Did they get lucky in a lot of areas? Yeah, absolutely.
It's called being first to market. First to market.
No, that's not true. Listen,
you invented Facebook. No one else invented what? You just invented
What are you
Facebook.
talking about, dog? There was like 5 other social media platforms before that.
Yeah, I was on MySpace.
The only difference? Yeah, MySpace, baby. No, it was not. The difference between MySpace and Facebook was literally one. I could see if somebody had a girlfriend or not, or was dating somebody, right? Right? Boom, that was huge. And then at the same time, you could also see if somebody was at a school or somewhere, right? And it first started off as intro, like building. So you literally would have, I don't know, what do you call
your group
it?
of friends.
Yeah, your group of friends.
Right.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And so in that same sense, I look at that and I go, yeah, that was going to win. But I thought, like personally, MySpace was actually better. Like, and the fact is that I could connect with more people. It wasn't internal, but what made it separate was when those college kids started graduating, right? And then they started branching off, and they no longer were a part of that.
Hey,
that's where
do you still have your Friendster account?
I do not. I actually do not. I do not. Do you?
I bet you they're still sending you emails. Pedro, we will come on back to Friendster. For those of you who don't know, that was like 26 years ago, Friendster. 26 years ago, Friendster and MySpace. Of course, MySpace did have Tom,
Yeah.
Every time you clicked on, there was Tom looking over his shoulder at you.
Yeah.
Just wanted to shoot him every time. Like gay face off my...
Bro. Killing me.
It's happened again.
Dog. All right.
Hold on one second. Once again, thank you to everybody watching. Really appreciate it. Thanks for those of you watching us on X today. There's been a couple of views on X. Really appreciate that. When you do, please share it on X. One of these days, Elon's going to get the X broadcasting feature more user-friendly, so you can stay on something easily and scroll. They're working on it, as they always say, and now a little window pops up on your desktop or you're on your phone, so you can doom scroll. But you touch anything else, you accidentally sneeze and touch your screen, the window goes away. Unless it's something loud and obnoxious, and for some reason, then you can't ever make it go away. Like, so thanks to everyone that participates on X. We really appreciate it.
You want to know something really interesting? Have you ever mixed chocolate with mangoes?
I just scanned through my entire life, and I would say no.
Or have you ever made a little bit of chocolate with mangoes and pomegranates?
There's 100% no.
Okay, you got to. It's freaking amazing. This tea is pomegranates that were frozen with mangoes. I put it with chocolate, with some nutmeg and some nutmeg with some ginger and ginger water tea with. Bro, it is so good. Like, I'm literally having a chocolate high right now. It's real ground, real chocolate, like the bitter chocolate, without any fat being taken out, nothing. And I am like literally having a high. I just realized what's going on. I was like, oh shoot.
Well, it's definitely not keeping your vocal cords paralyzed. It's definitely rolling. Baby Draco in the house. Thanks for joining us, Jesus, all the way from the sucker-free city.
Woo! Sucker-free. What's up, baby?
In other words, San Francisco City. Hopefully the weather is nice there, unlike the cold and gray, which I can see. I can't even see Quebec today. It's just another gray day.
Quebec.
Literally, Quebec is... You can walk to Quebec from here, and I can't even see it. Oh, look at this. Fire chicken in the house. How about that? I remember many movies talked about an NVIDIA... Yes, you are correct. We did, and you did the AI research for us there at the kind of at the beginning of the Fire Chicken program here. And because at the time, I hadn't researched NVIDIA much, and I was like, who the fuck makes their shit? 10 minutes later, Chuck's like, well, Tom, that's why they make AI.
My dog. What's up? Dude.
Tomahawk Tom and Pedro Damas.
What's up, my dude? I like that Tomahawk.
I know, but it doesn't work in Canada here. They're very sensitive to the... You can't culturally appropriate anything anymore. Otherwise the pasty white boys and the Karens come up and try and cancel you. Oh, really? You've culturally appropriated. I'm like... What culture is that? I'm sorry. I'm showing my ignorance, but... Tomahawk? Indian. American Indian, Native Indian. I'm sorry.
Oh! I thought you were doing Taliban.
No, Tomahawk.
Because I'm thinking the Tomahawk,
the chop.
The chop. No, not the chop. The chopper. Like the Tomahawk plane.
The Tomahawk. That's a Black Hawk.
Oh, bro, I am so stupid. I am so stupid. Dude, I was just so dumb. Dude, I can't have white face.
Here's a warning from the Federal Department of Agriculture and FDA. Do not combine chocolate, pomegranate, ginger, and mango into a tea.
Dude,
under any circumstances.
It's so good, bro.
You'll end up wearing a light blue hoodie with a scarf indoors.
I'm sweating. I'm literally sweating. This is so good, dude. Like, I would just, dude, I ground up some black tea or black seed, some Italian seasoning with nutmeg, clove, ginger, no turmeric, but dude, this is the pomegranate with the freaking. I froze them and then like cut them up, right? Because I was gonna do this. I had them sitting, steeping, and with my beans, and I just brought them in, and I was just like, oh my lord, is amazing, bro. I literally have a headache. I think that, dude, it's like really stimulating my brain. I can feel my prefrontal cortex literally tingling a little from this.
Watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Pedro's head exploded. He disappeared. We can't hear him. I have this magic button here. All right, let's pivot back to the show. We have not talked about Bitcoin here this entire show. You got it up on your screen. Bitcoin, Pedro, is on its continued downward trend. I was talking about it earlier when you're beaning it up and saying that I was hoping that this week was going to end up for Bitcoin because then it would match my idea of what you taught me of it's coming down at the beginning of the month, it's going to go up at the end of the month. It was doing that as of until today. And the producer price index came out, and they, instead of Bitcoin going up like it used to do, Bitcoin went down today because big institutions just were like, sell everything, sell your grandma, sell your socks, take your underpants off and sell them. And so Bitcoin dropped a lot today. So it's finishing the week down to violate to break my streak here of guessing the months right. Who knows? There's still 3 trading days, two trading days left in the week. So Bitcoin could right itself, but it looks like after today's thrashing, it's going to finish the week down. But to be more concise, it's been going down since November of last year. Right. In the Bitcoin maxis, the Yo Bros and everybody are in full panic because it's going down, and it's going to continue to go down. And even with a little bit of hope, Bitcoin swipes it out from underneath your feet. They just rip it right out. And Pedro's chatting with someone.
No, I'm not even. I'm sharing us. So.
So the question is, does Bitcoin have any hope, or is it just going to go right down? Well, it went right down to your zone to 61,000 today. Is that what it was?
No. This is the week. This is our month, because we're now coming to the end of the month, right? So today or tomorrow is the last day of the month. So let's look at it from that perspective, right? We can see that we bounced off, we came up. All this is just taking profit from this area here, right? I was hoping that we were going to see us get up to that 71,000 potentially, but it did not. We actually went through after the sell-off, right? We saw it come up, almost tap it, and now we're starting to see it continue down. Now, the part that I want to bring up for the weekly is that as the whole entire week was happening, you can see that we are increasing seller volume, right? I said last week we're starting to see it die off, but this week alone, we've literally seen a ton of seller volume coming in. So with that said, we saw on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, a big, on Wednesday, we saw a big green day. Basically, that's really just sellers taking profit. And so they're going through, taking profit to get set up for the next month. And so now you were seeing it now come back down. But you can see how taking profit to set up for the next month. So look at all this volume coming in this week. So don't get excited about the huge push up here right now. Again, I'm expecting it to come down even further into that 55,000 area that I've talked about here now for a while. This will be epic, okay, for the month coming up.
Should those zones be strong enough to cause a reversal instead of just maybe perhaps weak and going down to 40,000?
Yes. So I would expect something like this. All right. We are going to go up by the towards next week. We're going to tap into this area right here. Go up. Then we come down a little. We do this right here. We finish week next week. Okay. Monday, Tuesday, see it go up, potentially Wednesday, and then see it get down into these lower areas. Take this liquidity right here, sitting right here. Then we see it kind of go up again, come back down, tap this. This is going to be, now this is the weekly chart here. Okay. This would be into the second week. Let me read that. So this week goes up to go down, right? Boom. We see it pull liquidity. So this week. The next week, you want to see it go down first. So this would be the second week of March. We want to see it go down into our areas here. Okay, of that 60 or that 55, 56 area, potentially even 50 down at these levels. Everybody capitulates. I'm done. Bitcoin's done. We're done. Institutions are done with it, right? All the narrative that we hear, all the negative news saying Bitcoin, everybody's done with Bitcoin, that is going to just scream at a whole entire different level. Now, I'm going to, like everybody, I always give you at least 3 versions of what we could see. First version of this month. Okay. See it come back down into this level here. Consolidate a little, right? For the third week. Right. So first week, up, then down. Second week, we go down and then up. Okay. Boom. Then after that, third week, we see it just scream up, come back down into the fourth week. Now, when I say scream up, I'm saying I think we're going to see stupid growth. Like get back up to that 90,000, if not 100 potentially. And you're like, why is that important, Pedro? Because what does that do to the 3-month period?
Wow.
Boom, that pops here, comes down, takes the liquidity, then we see it go all the way back up here, which makes us into green. And then everybody who's screaming Bitcoin's done, and they sold and capitulated their whole entire net worth, right? And it is now in the hands of whom? The banksters, right? And so this is something I want to hit, because I do think that this quarter is going to be a big quarter. Okay. If not, then I would look at the year after that. I want to see the year, right? The year is, we're still within that first quarter for the year. This is why I think down at that yearly mark, that's why I'm looking at the 8 period, which is sitting at that 48,000 mark. I don't think we're going to hit the 48,000. I think we could see the yearly, I think it will probably go to that 50,000-ish area, right? And then when next year, as we go up, it will look like we hit the 8 at that 48,000, but we just basically came to the 50,000. Who knows? I mean, we could hit that 48,000. But if we do, it's just, again, there's just so much, there's a lot of, what's the word I want to use? There will be a lot of turmoil coming up. That's the best way of saying it. Turmoil coming up, a sell-off coming in, and to see it push it back up is what I'm expecting. Either way, these levels here, I think, are great levels to be buying into. Like I've said now multiple times, anything under 75 to like 50,000 is just, to me, makes sense to buy. You know, it's just, I don't want to. I'm not gonna not.
There's no reason to risk it. There's no reason to risk it for a small upside gain. You'd rather let it come down and get in at 40-some thousand. Even if you wait now and it goes up to 90, and it's like, oh, now it's getting. You recalculate, say, is it getting set to go to 120? Well, yeah, you get in, you make the same amount of money. Did you miss out on, half again the gain or whatever? Yeah, but you didn't lose any money. Did not lose any money.
Yeah, and I just look at it like this, like down at these lower levels, it just makes sense to get in at. Is BTC potentially going down to 10,000? I'm not saying it can't. It could, very much could, right? There is a large amount of buyers sitting right there. I mean, you can see, look at just boom. We didn't even get close and they were buying it. We could see it come down, but even then, I would still buy. I personally would buy now, still at 50,000. 45,000. Just because even if it gets down to that 10,000, granted, I'm not buying tens of thousands of dollars, but it's the dollar cost averaging as we're selling off on a weekly basis. You're putting money in, so you're already putting in situation, and then save your powder to see if we see it get down to that 50,000, that 40,000. And if we get down to that 10,000, I'm okay with it, right? It is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. Like that 10,000 is very much, just didn't get hit. They came down to 15,000. I remember I was there with a few people looking at it. I was actually in the Ninja Lounge, or not Ninja. What is it? DeFi Dojo now?
Web3 Dojo.
Web3 Dojo. Yeah. So like those areas there for me is, I just look at that going like, man, it just screams to me, right? When I was telling them, I was like, it should be coming down here. And I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. It only went to 15,000 is where we went to. But I actually bet one of the guys that when I bet one of the guys, it was actually in who's the guy? Brian, with Coin Launch Lounge. We were in there and we were talking about a couple things. And I said, one of the guys said, we're not going to leave that 20,000. I said, bro, this thing's coming down to at least 15,000, if not further. And he's like, I bet you $1,000. And I was like, all right, I'll take that bet. And like, and you know me, like I'm not going to bet something that I know I'm not going to win. All right, I won't bet unless I know I'm definitely going to win. And so I was like, I'll take that bet, definitely. And then like when it hit 15 plus or 15 whatever, everybody was like, dude, you got to pay Pedro $1,000. And like in there, they were like, I said, dude, no, don't even trip. I'm good. I don't need that 1,000. But it was funny because it was like one of those moments that it was like, yeah. And forgive me for talking about myself in that aspect.
That's all right. I was bragging about you yesterday on the various Telegram groups.
Oh, who?
I was posting around just saying when you made the Solana call, I went and posted that in various places.
Definitely. But again, this level here, so that's one of the things that we could see happen. The other thing that we could be potentially seeing with BTC is that we see it go up, right? So we see it come down here, and then we see it pop real quick. Because look, this is one day right here, right? Boom. So 50,000 is not, like, that's not unheard of with BTC when it literally sold off almost $20,000 in one day, right? We've seen it, right? I think it was 74,000, 75,000. And like it literally within a full 24-hour period came all the way down to like that 60,000. So again, this is, I guess, 15,000 points. But either way, it wouldn't be unheard of for me to sit there and see it just drop down to that level quickly. Okay, boom, pop, come up, pop again. Either way, it wouldn't be, and then go up, right? And then for the full month after the first week, we see it just skyrocket up. So that's one of the things to be paying attention to. And then tertiary on the third one is we just see another stinking consolidation period where it just basically just drives us nuts. So again, sorry to be, normally I'm directional, but just this idea of, are they looking to sell off? I think they are. I have a bias to the first analogy that I gave you, but you need to be ready and have different chain of thoughts and be open to a different move than what you are expecting. And it's really important to sit there and see it.
Fire Chicken, you still out there? Fire Chicken just dropped a whole bunch of comments on on the video itself, so I'm responding to not in the chat, but in the comments. Trying to get that engagement up. Let me bring the chat back up here. Sorry, Jesus, I've not been current on the... You missed the cocoa leaves in that. Yeah, no, I'm sure Pedro's got cocoa leaves.
You can't even get cocoa leaves. That's what frustrates me.
Pedro reminds me of my older brother. They dress the same. Oh, is he gay too? Sorry, everyone. I'm wearing the pink shirt, all right?
Oh, man. I literally had a gray shirt on, or gray hoodie, and then I saw his pink shirt. I was like, I turned off my camera and put on. Dude, you know how much money this was? This was $2. No, it was like it was like $1.89 or something. It's $1, you know what I'm saying? At a thrift store, I was like, and it's like soft. It was cotton, and I was like, dude, that's a banging deal. Like that was like, you know me, man. I love thrift shopping. Love thrift shopping. So it was such a great deal. You know?
Yeah. Oh, so great.
You know, you're like, I don't care about color.
They were sitting there like, one of these days, a sucker's gonna come through here. Oh, there he is. I want my $2. $2. Pedro,
oh man, you're killing me.
We've talked a lot about Bitcoin here. As you know, I've been fascinated by gold lately as I practice my futures trading, which I'm not doing right now. But as I apply my knowledge here, gold obviously popped up today quite extensively due to the producer price index and its effect on currencies and that type of stuff. Inflation means everybody runs to the hedge of inflation, and that is gold. I'll bring my screen up because I got gold handy. This is what happened to gold today. It just went boop, and then all day went up and came down. And now at the end, as we get towards the end of the day, and there's only 3 hours left in the trading day for the futures, kind of was thinking that this was going to come down here as people sell off their positions. There's loads of profit here today. All these people that went long and have big profits here. And it started to sell off a little bit, but now in the last minute, it's pumping a lot. Is that because they're just setting everyone up for the big fall? They're squeezing the last money out of people before they close all their position and it dumps? Or is there still inflation pressure on a Friday afternoon? I mean, what's your concept of that?
Yeah, so it's not, I honestly think this is more has to do with large institutions and banks. This is more of a hedge based off of if America does start to falter, if Trump can't pull off the actual situation, they know then that America is screwed.
Wait, hold on. I'm just talking about here at the end of the day. This whole pump up here was that. Yeah, that's the hedge. At the end of the day, traders want to take their profits and go home. Especially on Friday, they leave early, 12 o'clock after lunch. They take their profits, they go home. The market usually comes down as they sell it off, and in fact into this this area down here. I should have cleared that off, but because that was traded right through that. But now here at the end of the day, all of a sudden it's just heading way up, and it's So am I thinking? New way of thinking says they're bringing it up to go down at the end of the day. They're saying, all right, we've got a little bit of juice left in the day here. We've got some, as someone says, there's still some budget left on some desk. And so they're going to say, let's push it up. And then at the end of the day, we'll close our positions and rifle this thing down.
I don't think
and not intentionally to rifle it down, just they need to close their positions before Friday.
So I would say no on that. And the reason why I say no on that is because it's the end of the month, the last day of the end of the month. We have triple witching going on right now. This could be last minute pushing up, but dude, we're 2 hours away. Gold is already closed. The pit's already closed, right?
Right.
And if we were going to see, we would have seen that already. So I literally think that this is large institutions going in and buying off of inflation risk, off of if America isn't able to pull it together, then we're screwed. And so, a $5,000 gold is not expensive. That's what I think. That's what I think is happening. I don't think that I think this is nation states stepping in and buying at these levels.
On a Friday afternoon, they just most of the nation states are closed. Guys are out getting hammered because it's late in Europe and it's Asia. They're already asleep or already hungover. I mean, there's only a few traders left trading on a Friday afternoon.
It's algorithms. So, I mean, those are just algorithms, man. I think those aren't traders. It's an algorithm sitting there and going buy.
Clearly an algorithm's running that. It's going up nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring it down a time frame. That's a 5 minute. Let's bring it to the 1 minute. Yeah, it's just following at 8 period. Just boop. Someone turned it on.
But also, let me give another a chain of thought process on that. I think you could be right. I think it could be also that last little bit of just let's push up before we drop it. But if that was to have happened, right, what would we need to actually be seeing on the intra time frame? It'd be a good little thought process.
On the intra time frame.
What don't we want to see? If it was going to push up and then sell off, what don't we want to see?
Volume. We need to have volume.
Yes.
Also, we need to have a supply zone for it to bounce off of.
Yep. And then also during 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour periods, what don't we want to see? We don't want to see demand wicks.
Oh, right.
We don't want to see demand wicks. We don't want to see wicks coming down, right? You can see here, look at this 1 hour time frame. Look at these. I don't want you to talk about it, but I want you to look at it.
Right. I got you.
All right. And then in addition to that, when you look at your 30-minute, right, what are we seeing? So, and are we seeing a lot of supply wicks?
No, none at all.
No, we're not. Not at all. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's dropping in volume, but it's also Friday. But every time it starts to come down, what do we see?
Demand wick.
Mm-hmm.
The buyers are taking this one all the way to the end.
Well, it's not that. It's just the idea of, okay, now, again, I'm throwing things out of how I was just thinking, and I want to go through another chain of thought. Let's say these are traders, right? If you look at the week, what did we see the week do? We saw a gap into supply. Anybody who is a OTA trader understands that typically this meant that we should see a sell-off if we gapped into supply. Okay. And so in that same sense, as we're watching this now really push up with more volume that it's had in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so this week we had a lot of volume coming. Or not a lot, but probably, let's say, an extra 10% more than 2 weeks ago, and probably 20% more than last week. And so watching it push up, this is not a small feat.
Right.
Now, it isn't like we saw huge amounts of volume like we saw here. But again, gold was at 4,000. We're watching gold now start to tap at 5,500, right? Which is a 25% more at least than what we saw. So it does beg the difference that maybe it's slowing down, but that trader who's in this, if he was going to sell off, right? No matter how I parse this out with different chain of thought processes, it screams to me as an overlap of all chain of thought processes that they're buying. And because of that, I have to take the correlation of 3 different thought processes, and I want to sit there and find the correlation of the 3 within those chain of thoughts. 3 or 4 of them all hold the same thought process. So for me, I say they're pushing it up. One, so that they can keep buying, and so the only way, and in that same sense, my conclusion is, why are they buying?
Anticipating war?
Anticipating war, anticipating America falling apart, anticipating people just simply seeing the weakness in the stock market and seeing a sell-off, right? So just those little things.
Or there's a whole shit pile of stuff at that zone up there above it, and someone's got some big liquidity to pay for stuff there.
That's actually a good point too, and that's actually a really good point. That's probably what it is, and it's
still a good ways away from it. I mean, obviously it went there today, and there's that big wall, as you know, has done its thing.
25%.
Oh well, with volume coming down, be interesting to watch it.
I'm shocked that we didn't get down to our lower levels here. You know, we did come down and tap that 4,400 area that we talked about, but I thought
Pedro,
go ahead.
that. Oh no, I'm sorry. What you have the daily chart today? Yesterday, when I was practicing my homework and that type of stuff, and I was doing my qualifying and stuff. And I'm like, all right, and I drew my things on and did my stuff. And I'm like, this is pretty far out of the market, but it's still a zone, so I'm going to do my thing. And it sniped right back down to it and missed it. It missed it probably because I don't have the right pixels on my screen. And so if I had gotten the arrow or the box drawn just right, but it was one of those things, and it came right. It's like, wow, class works. Wow, learning advanced skills works. It's like, and when I was pretty far out of the market. And you know what though, as you watch one thing a lot, you know, I've got a little bit of a feel for gold, not which I say I can make money on it, just that you see how it does. And when it's consolidating a little bit, those larger orders, gold has people put in big orders in gold. They put in like multi-millions and millions of dollars of orders in gold. And when it does that and it's consolidating and the market's not moving, people kind of drop out of the market. The order book gets a little more thin, and a big order to sell will just drop the price down and go right to a whole bunch of buy orders. And so you'll see lots of just boops down, and then it boops right back up as the buy orders come in. And I'm like, yeah, but this could happen here. It came right down, way out of the market, just boop, right down to it. And I was like, oh. The other day, and I think it was last week when I had a similar experience, and it got it. I had actually had a trade on. This time I just had the zone. And I was like, holy, Toledo Jeepers Creepers. I know. That was my, what's his name? Klinger from MASH.
Oh yes, dude. Oh my goodness, I love that dude. You know, he was so awesome.
That whole show was great. That whole show was great.
I wish we could go back to those liberals. I can't believe I'm even saying that, but common sense liberals. Like, hey, you're murdering. You know what I'm saying? Like, those. I don't know. I'm gonna be quiet. Yeah, he is. Those were talking about real stuff, right? Racism, real racism, 70s racism, 80s racism. You know, the war happening in Vietnam, as well as Korea. Excuse me, Korea. The stuff that was actually happening, and they just even the transgender stuff. But even the transgender stuff was like, you know, that what's the guy's name? He wanted to get out of the war, and he would dress up.
Yeah, it was Klinger dressed as a woman the whole time.
Yeah.
Never worked. So they were like, yeah, we know yours is a scam, but he kept trying.
Yeah.
Radar,
bro, dude.
I had an employee like
almost died.
that once. I had an employee when I was working in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, in the free trade zone that's between, not the free trade zone, but the Dubai Industrial Park. And this guy anticipated everything I could possibly do. And I would be like, it was like he had my office bugged or something like that. Or my brain bugged, and I would think, oh, I need to check on this Project X over here. And he'd be like, sir, you want to talk about Project X? We have background. I have information for you right now already. And it's like, okay, thanks. In fact, I've mentioned him on this show before. His name was not pronounceable to me in English. And to my English trained ear, it sounded like he was saying too legit. And I'm like, and so I took it as too legit. And we called him Too Legit to Quit, the MC Hammer song. Or is it MC Hammer? Too Legit to Quit? And then we do Hammer Time.
Yes.
He had no idea. One day he asked me, he finally asked me when
what is Hammer Time?
My last week on this consulting contract. He's like, why? I do not understand this Too Legit to Quit. And Google Hammer Time, Too Legit to Quit. And he's too legit. And I said, what's your name? And he said, Too Legit. And I said, Too Legit. And he's like, I get it now. I am like MC Hammer.
You know, but you know, he's like, every time he goes home, he's talking to his wife, like, this mother.
These freaking white people from the other side of the planet come over here.
You know, bro, he's straight up saying freaking white, balding white men wearing pink shirts. Come over here.
First. This was the guy I tried to pay a regular salary, and they wouldn't let me pay him. They're like, no, you can't do that. This family will get outcast in their village back home. I was like, wow.
Heartbreaking. I just sometimes get mad.
Pedro, we have on Rumble this month, we've hit all of our goals, including premium and everything, except for hours broadcast. After this, we'll need like 2 more, and so
hours. Okay.
I'll handle that over this evening or tomorrow, just by rebroadcasting a show, one of the weekly shows, and so we'll hit it again. We'll hit it again this month.
Good, man.
It's a tough month. Next month is going to be tough. Also, because next month is spring break, and I am going to be going back to Chicago, and then I'm going to most likely be going out to. Well, I'll hopefully handle that during the week or weekends. Yeah. But I'm going flying with my daughter back to school to the University of Colorado, and we'll be going skiing with her in for 2 days. On the end of the week of the 20th or whatever like that, and then we'll be returning home. I should be able to still do plenty of shows, but we'll have some vacation days in there. I have not been out to see. I have my daughter's gone to school for now almost a whole year there, or a whole school year, but I've yet to be to her school. Didn't go for any of the visits. I was a bad dad.
Oh. Strike.
World Smalling, Vias Lynn going nee, 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 nee.
Nah, man, not even. I mean, like, if I ever have a daughter, God willing, I know I'm in my 50s or 40s, but God willing, you never know. I very much am gonna go visit as much as I can.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. She comes home from spring break, and we're both gonna fly back and go up to her old stomping ground at Winter Park, where she worked last year, if you recall, and hit the slopes. This year, Pedro, this was the year I was going to ski a lot again after not skiing much since children were born, and finally bought skis again, all this type of stuff. There's 10 ski areas within an hour drive of where I am. Not all huge ones, but Mount Tremblant is a pretty decent one. And there's lots of day places. Just go up for 4 or 5 hours. Cheap tickets during the week, stuff like that. You can, and they have lights, so you can go at 3. But I decided instead to get into an intensive futures trading school.
It's real. People don't even know. People don't even know. You think I got this good just because like I was just looking at charts? Like, I'm trying to be arrogant.
You get good because of good teachers and good knowledge that those teachers have developed. Unlike my freshman year economics 102 teacher. And freshman year in university for me was 1986. No, this is spring semester, so it was 1980, spring of 87.
Gotcha.
And the spring of 87, China was not as well versed in Western ways. They were just starting to really open up. You know, Shanghai and those cities that we've essentially built with our money were still very small, populous places, but not huge business centers. The Guangzhou industrial parks were very tiny and small. It was communism. And my teacher was right off the boat from China.
Oh, so hard to understand.
Didn't understand a goddamn thing they said. And I went to my counselor and I'm like, I can't understand them. And they're like, well, that's the only class we have. And I'm like, I have to take it this semester because my degree, I said, I have to take it this semester. Otherwise, I have to take it in the summer somewhere, and I don't want to do that. And they're like, you can't change the class. I'm like, I don't understand them. I'm like, why would you hire someone from China, communist China, to teach economics? And it was kind of the beginning of the DEI moment. There's plenty of people to teach economics. Hell, you could have gotten a 22-year-old that's been drunk and done a better job than this guy. And so I went to withdraw from the class, and I had to get the teacher's signature. I finally said, I'm going to take it in the summer, so I had to withdraw officially. The teacher would not let me, this Chinese guy would not let me withdraw.
Oh, because so many people were withdrawing. It would have made him look bad, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, I can't understand you. And he blah, 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 and said, I don't even understand what you just said. And he started writing it down. We had to write it down. And I'm like, I was so mad. It pisses me off to this day. It fucked up my whole schedule, one teacher like that. For 2 years. Yeah, Draco, lost in translation. Lost in communism. Communist China. And next time I went to see, in fact, later on, I was the treasurer for my fraternity house at Purdue. And we had a big fraternity house. And it was like 100 guys. We were doing a construction project. My treasurer job was actually had hundreds of thousands of dollars in our budget that a 20-year-old in college was managing. But our kind of like our overseer accountant happened to work for the university, and he worked in the dean's office. And I was in there one day talking to him, going over the books and that kind of stuff. And the dean walked by, Dean of Purdue. I'll just call him Dean Wormer. That's the guy from Animal House for you youngsters. And I grabbed him, and I said, hey, I'm Tom Herlihy. This guy's name is Bruce. Is our fraternity's consultant, and he handles our books. He's one of the Purdue accountants, high up dude. He's like, oh, okay, how's it going for you? And I said, why would you hire someone? This is the first thing I said to him. I said, why would you hire someone off the boat from China to teach economics that doesn't speak English, speaks Chinese? And he looked at me like, and finally he said, well, we like to give people an opportunity. I'm like, okay, give him an opportunity by paying them to go to English classes. Once he learns to speak English, I'm sure he'll do fine. And he just looked at me, and then he's left, and I went back to our accountant guy, and he said, that was the dean, you know? I'm like, yeah. He said, you can't say that to the dean. I'm like, why not? Why not? His people under him clearly made mistakes. Hired people that students could not understand. You can't do that. And that was the kind of the beginning of the DEI. Well, we better hire people from everywhere else to give them experience and bring different cultures in. It brought me a D in economics, and I know economics very well. Thank you, Dean Wormer. Rush hour. Oh yeah, do you not understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? I was sitting there trying to think of the movie. Because earlier, Pedro did a voice, and I was like, what was it? And it's Rush Hour. Do you not understand the words coming out of my mouth? He's trying to do the fake hand signals. Then he says it louder. Do you not understand? Oh. I think you're on mute, Pedro. We don't hear you, Pedro. Your connection's up, and it's fine. Ah, there you go. You sat on your butt again.
Yeah. I was thinking about this when it comes to the movies. Half the movies that I quote that are hilarious, that other people laugh at. This younger generation, when I get around young guys, right? We're hanging out, we're talking, right? I'm at church, and they're like, "That's funny," ha ha ha, right? Whatever. It all stems from old movies we watch that they will never have the opportunity to watch. You know, like that type of humor, that type of just real funniness, right? And I'm like, that's so sad to think about. Like, how many movies have like the humor? Because the humor makes you think, you know. And like, you would have George Carlin like ripping on the government, like about the Republicans and the Democrats. He's like, they're all the same coin. Like those guys will never. It just Did you hear about there was a cartoon talking about the Jews, and I thought it was, I don't think it was that funny, but they got canceled because they were like, you know who we're talking about, and then somebody, in the cartoon, goes, who are we talking about? And he goes, I don't know. It was like a proverbial you. It's more of like a, joke around, whoever comes to your mind. And so he's like, yeah, but who came to your mind? He goes, nobody came to my mind. And so it was like this awkward, it's funny. It was actually really funny. They canceled this cartoon. I actually was like, I want to go watch that cartoon. That looks funny, right? And what's sad is, like, as Bill Clinton said today in his statement, and this is a paraphrase, but I hope we can come together again in mutual disagreement and not want to take each other out because we disagree with each other. Did you see his statement?
No, I didn't, but he does make a good point.
Yeah, he does. Look, we gotta be able to disagree with each other and yell at each other, call each other idiots in love. Okay, dude, your thought process is being idiotic. I'm not calling you an idiot. You may be an idiot because I haven't seen your life yet, but that thought process is dumb. Explain yourself so I can actually understand it. Please, I want to have civil discourse where we can get excited and also get passionate about viewpoints that we disagree with. That is what makes the world brilliant.
Brilliant.
You want to know something funny? I love watching Impact Theory with Tom Bilyeu going over the stuff. And so I was talking to somebody about him, and I was saying, you need to go watch him. He's really good. And the person goes, cool. He goes, what do you like and not like? And I go, I like the fact that he has a very sequential thought process. It's very binary, very quick to go through. The only problem is he's very sequential, and only has maybe one perspective that he brings, that he does a great job at chain of thought. And he has really good what most likely will happen. That's really good, right? Somebody who has a good grasp of reality can gauge, all right, this was potentially what could happen down the road as things progress. Those guys are great. Problem is, we know life is not that simple. So if you only have one world model, which is 80% of the time, you're not going to be accurate on that, just that one thought process. So you need to have multiple. And Tom, many times, just has one chain of thought, not multiple. And so he needs to broaden that out and have at least three, where he can give, a left-leaning view, mid, and a right-leaning view on his thought process, right? And it would make it really look good. And so the person goes then to me and goes, why do you watch him then? I go, because he has correct thought process in the idea of what ought to be versus what really is, right? And I think what's really important is for people, and I told him, I said, go watch him. And then I went on to actually Tom's video that day, and I said, you know what? I need to say this to him, right? So I made a comment on it saying, hey dude, I love your stuff. I tell people to watch, but I also tell people when you do watch, actually understand that he's very linear, which is good, but it's very kind of binary, one or the other, and there's not enough thought processing that goes behind it in regards to other views that potentially could happen. And that's basically what I said. And then I gave him, all right, so in conclusion, this is what I think you should do. I don't know if you watched that, but that same sense is what when you have disagreements with somebody who you disagree with, but maybe respect. And then you have another person who you have disagreements with, right? And you have another one. This gives you that what ought to be and actually make that happen, right? Versus what is, and then you get stuck in literally the dystopian mindset that you can't get out of. Basically, i.e. communism, right? Socialism, right? Like it was what ought to be, but didn't have the reality of being able to what is and how human mindset actually work. That's why we need it. That's why it's so important to have this.
Well, on that note and style of discussion,
a little girl jumping.
The jumping girl. I hit the wrong button.
That was funny.
It's the Bitcoin jumping off the precipice video, but I clearly hit the wrong one. I wanted the looking up one.
It's all good.
And I can't make the jumping one go away for some reason.
That's all good. Just keep moving.
No,
I don't want to stop the chain of thought that you were saying.
We've lost that process of discourse here in politics due to how fast the news cycle is, and people getting barbs and jabs in, and like as soon as you announce that yes, I'm going to support an overhaul of the Social Security system, the other side comes out and says, well, obviously Tom is out of touch and is just trying to line his own pockets, and he's corrupt because he's kicking all the old people out of the retirement homes because he's hates babies too. And you're like, well, no, it's just we're fixing the funding model for Social Security. Nope. See, nope. That means tax increases. He's increasing taxes. He's out of touch. He's an extremist. It's to the point where, does any of that even matter? Like, I see these people quick to get on the news and they're like, he's an extremist, he's out of touch. Does it sway anyone? Because if everyone in the political system has been called, everyone on both sides, an extremist, has been called either Hitler or Karl Marx, depending on which side you're on, has been called out of touch, has been called corrupt, has been called every negative thing on the planet. To the point, does it sway any voters? Viewers, what, the 2.5 of you that are left, are you ever swayed by any politician saying anything about the other side? Like, it's like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh my God, he hates babies. Oh, Jesus Christ, he kicks dogs? Now, they showed one politician, like, accidentally stepped on a dog's tail. Next thing you know, like, clearly, and he didn't react like, oh my God, I kissed the dog. Or he's just like, oh, sorry. And they're like, he clearly hates animals. He's not a warm and fuzzy person. He's cold. And they're like, he just stepped on the dog's tail accidentally because it fell asleep next to him. Like,
unless you're like Harold, was it Ford, who basically grabbed his dog by the ears? Remember that?
Even Biden's dogs were mean, and everyone was on his ass for treating them badly. And one of his staffers said, "No, these dogs are biters. They're biting everybody. They're biting the Secret Service agents. You gotta treat them as such."
Yeah, it's because it's a dog-eat-dog world. They know that everybody walks around their president, and if their president, like if they're treating him with crazy respect, and then all of a sudden Biden literally goes through and is like total beta to his dogs, well, then the dogs assume that they're the alpha everywhere because everybody else is bowing down to Biden and showing deference makes him the leader. And if they feel like if he's the leader and he's bowing down to them, that makes them think they're the bomb diggity, no doubt, shout out, I'm the leader. But so you got to beat them. I'm just joking, but there's a form of that. All right, talk to me. Who's these Bitcoin guys here you got in the back?
I thought it was a Bitcoin guy. This is a Bloomberg analyst. I was trying to hit some buttons here, and as always, it defaults to the screen I never use. Ugh. The system's been running very well here all day. Now it's decided not to. I can't wait to buy a new computer. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just bear with me for a second here as I spin up the Microsoft's PC manager to free up some memory. Temporary memory full. Okay, this isn't going to last much longer. Hold on, the whole system is frozen. Thank you very much. Well, let's hit some comments while we're at it. Oh, there's no new comments.
We're at it. Well, we did see a jump up in our viewership, which is nice. The Jackie speaks English. Laugh out loud. Rush hour. So what's going on with our friends over here? Who's Nets are Gen R?
2 minutes. Those are all Crypto Mike. I summoned Crypto Mike for as many alt accounts to make sure we had enough chat and hit our goal, and we did.
That dude got some. He got a few. You know what? Shout out to Zach Humphries. Have you been noticing his daily talk show? He's almost at like 300 to 500 a day now. Really impressive.
I know.
Actually really cool. What's up?
I know he does. He's doing pretty well with that.
Oh yeah. I actually was listening to. He's actually has some pretty decent guys coming on. I had one guy who was a Bond guy, and I was kind of cracking up because I do agree with him, but everybody else was started ripping on him, and so part of me was like, "This guy's giving you truth here, and you guys are crucifying him like you guys would do me. Y'all need to like." He's literally trying to hook you up. And
I know. I remember it was about a year ago. I was listening to some crackpot that spoke every show and talked about how everyone had to buy. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't a crypto. It was a commodity. Maybe it was gold or something like that. If you didn't buy it by a certain time, whatever, you had to do it. I'm warning you. It's not a conspiracy, but it's organized thing. It's happening on this day, and it's going to change money fundamentally forever. And they gave him 10 minutes every day to talk, and of course it was nothing, and it was false, and it was fake, and stuff like that. And every day for so long, the info was the same on that. I was just like, same guy speaking, the same. They wouldn't even review the market. Like, at least you and I are the same guys talking all the time, but we're reviewing the market, which changes every day. My program is totally frozen. There's just nothing.
Are we frozen on?
No, it's just my user interface is frozen. It just Stream Deck doesn't work. Nothing works.
It's really interesting.
Draco's a few minutes behind here. He says, "Fuck no, I've heard it all."
I love that dude. Baby Jesus. You need to do baby Jesus. Baby Jesus. Speaking of the market, you know what I thought was really interesting as well? When it came to actually news. That Ethereum gained nearly 3.5%. Not
Ethereum. Oh, nope. I was like, what you talking about, Willis?
No, that it's selling off, but it's not looking like it's selling off even worse. It's actually showing some decentness compared to BTC.
Down 5%.
So like, yeah, and so like I'm actually kind of excited because this is kind of showing me, ooh, we potentially could be like, look at the sellers, last few days, right? Boom. As we're coming down, so that's gonna get me excited because I'm thinking we're gonna see a nice little pump here with Ethereum potentially.
Ooh, so I think my system is returned to working.
Oh yeah!
Only took 5 minutes.
Yeah. You know what that's from? Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah. You know it's no, but
He says, I'm from Peru. We don't even have a real president right now. Yeah, I'm having a little constitutional crisis down there.
Dude, did we not say that that was going to happen? I think America is allowing. I think we're purposely kind of playing around.
They've had a lot of problems in Peru. They went with that Japanese guy for a long time, and he just fucked things up. He was good and new. He was like, oh, and everyone. Peru has some fascination with Japan for some reason. Maybe Jesus, you can explain it to me. I don't know why. A lot of Japanese moved to Peru for the mountains and this type of stuff, and they ended up with a Japanese president, and he was good. Like, he's good. All of a sudden, it was horrible. It was bad plans, as they say. And then they went through a whole bunch of presidents that only lasted like a month. And then they'd be like, corruption, but no confidence. The parliament just said, no, you're really bad. You're even worse than the last guy. And then they just had trouble. They just can't get their shit together. There just needs, you know what, in Peru, in Ecuador, and in Bolivia, they just need one like federal government to run the place like the EU does. And the federal government handles defense, building the roads, making sure there's clean water, and all that type of stuff, and then let the local governments do all their shenanigans or whatever. They, and handle the currency. That they just need someone to come in and say, enough with this. I wonder who that could be. I wonder who is interested in South America and making sure that the Chinese stay out. I wonder what organization.
Argentina.
I wonder who would be president of that. Oh, Mark Rubio, another job for him.
Argentina, man. Those guys who adopted America first and was just like, they're going to do very well because, again, first movers. Like, there's just no way that we're not going to start to really mess around with Argentina down there, or El Salvador, right? Like, it's going to be really interesting to see if Brazil flips. It's going to be really interesting to see because it's not the most stable already. And like the people in Brazil, I read that they're kind of, you think America's racist? Dude, go down South America. Dude, the racism, dude, it's like, so there's a lot of Chinese immigrants coming over, and they're doing a lot of jobs, a lot of stuff that's actually happening. And I actually heard a friend of mine was just straight telling me, like the racism against them because they're taking jobs and and basically being just iced out is really interesting what's happening in Brazil. And I'm like, really? He was like, yeah, dude. Like just straight up, they're beating them. Like you see like a bunch of Asian people down, like they like dudes like junior high, not junior hires, but like high schoolers go and mess with them. Like I was like, it's that bad? He goes, yeah, it's starting to get bad. So we'll see where that takes, right? Like kind of crazy, really crazy. Who's actually going to get stable?
Jesus mentions the port in Peru. Yeah, I do know about that. And in fact, when Peru said we want this port, we need to develop it for trade. There were lots of U.S. companies and investment firms and all that would pay for it. I mean, BlackRock would have paid for that thing in 10 minutes. But the problem was that nobody could get through the American Foreign Corrupt Practices Act because the port was not tendered to be built by private companies. It was tendered by the government to build it. And that meant the government people wanted bribes. And the U.S. companies can't pay bribes overtly. No, I mean, they just can't. I worked in that era for a long time. You just can't pay government officials. And the Chinese can. The Chinese can come in and just throw cash on them and say, hey, we'll do it, and here's $5 million in an account in Switzerland and in Miami, and it's easy. And they're like, yeah, we want the Chinese to do it. That's the only way China gets influence like that anywhere in the world is they bribe people. They did it in Mombasa in Kenya. They just paid the Kenyan president. Everyone's like, no, he's not corrupt. I'm like, of Kenya? And all of a sudden he's spouting how great China is, yet all his kids go to school in the US? Like, this is weird. But anyway, so none of our companies could finance it. So they had to lean on the Chinese. And that's what happens all over the world. I mean, American investment money would own all the ports. But since those big infrastructure projects are governed by government entities, we can't bribe them. So anyway, Pedro, I need to get going here. It's late and my system is responding right now, so I thought I would take the time right now to end this and all of that.
Oh, good. Speaking of India.
India? I said, speaking of ending this.
Speaking of India, my chart here that I was looking at India iShares for their I think it was really interesting. They literally came down and hit my zone.
Oh, I think Pedro's mic. I think your mic's fading out again, Pedro. Oh, look at it. Look at that. It's off. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen.
Gotta go.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for a great week here at DYOR. We hit all of our goals for the month in this short month like that. Hopefully this will catapult us up into the higher echelon of Rumble broadcasters. And just so you know, in the past week, we've had both the Steven Crowder show and the Matt Moore show. Both of them mentioned DYOR on the air. And we ended up, I think we got 7 new followers out of it.
Nice.
But some of the biggest shows on Rumble mentioned DYOR Media because I spiffed them $10 in Tether Gold, so they had to mention us. But doesn't matter, they did. I got it clipped out, and we are going to use that for all it's worth. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot. We really appreciate that. Thanks to Mr. Hodes in the house. You just joined a little late, but thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Baby Draco says, in Peru, everyone is bought. Yep, it's a problem. It's a problem. Just like Venezuela. Venezuela's a problem. Outro, that's right, Baby Draco. It's time for that. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, have a great weekend. We'll see you next week here on the DYOR Media Network. Pay attention to your bags over the weekend. There might be an invasion. There might not. You never know. Anyway, as always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. So glad to have had a great show again today with my co-host, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. Thank you for your great analysis and whatever you're doing there below the camera screen a little while ago.
What?
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen.
You mean when I was doing this right here? Like where I was like literally on the ball and I was like stretching out my hip and I was like going like this. I was like trying because I was cramping there. What do you think I was doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, and that's when we go to the credits. I'm gonna leave you with the kabooms, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to everyone that watched. Have a great end of the month. We'll see you next month. Kaboom! Mics are still on. Hold on. DeFi Dude, thanks for watching!